Hello, this is Mike von Steuben, and today I'm going to be making a video on how I paint my rifles. So, first off, I just want to point out, this is the before picture, not the after. So, the background behind this rifle, this is my Galil Ace in 308. My buddy and I decided to take our battle rifles and attempt a Rhodesian baby shit camouflage pattern, which we did not do effectively. And so, not only does it look ugly as sin, but it just doesn't work that well in our environment. So I'm painting over it with what I do with all my other rifles. So figured I'd make a video on it while I'm at it. So the first step when you're painting a weapon is obviously to tape over anything you don't want paint on. So with common to all weapons, you're going to want to tape over the front and back ends of your optic. Any iron sights that you have, so front sight post, rear aperture, both on my back up on top of the ACOG and on the rifle itself, as well as any like turrets that are used to move them, to adjust them. You don't want paint inside of that. Let's see, so some other stuff that you would tape over. So I taped over my muzzle device. I consider this optional. On most weapons, any gunk you get inside of the muzzle will be removed with your first shot anyway, so it doesn't affect the performance of the gun. The only reason I taped over this one is because this muzzle device I mount a suppressor onto, and that has threads that I cannot get paint in, so it's taped over. Other features, so anything rubber, so I have a rubber butt pad on the back of this, and I just don't particularly want paint on there because it doesn't stick to it very well, and it just becomes sticky and it'll rub off on my shoulder anyways. This rifle has a folding stock, so I taped over the folding mechanism there so that it doesn't become overly difficult to fold and unfold the stock. You want to tape over any openings that go directly into the gun, like the trigger and the opening on top above the trigger. On AR-15s or AR style weapons, you'll want to close the dust cover. You don't have to tape over it. You can if you want to. I've never seen it as necessary. So I didn't do that on this rifle because this is a Galil Ace, and it basically has AK style internals. And if I get a little bit of paint inside this like tiny gap here, it's not going to matter. Like, this gun does not care. For AR-15s, you're going to want to tape over any openings. You don't need to remove the bolt on ARs. As long as your ejection port cover is closed and it stays closed during the time that you're painting. So some people advocate that you tape over the magazine. Well, I just insert a magazine. It covers it. No paint is going to get inside the gun via the mag well, and it paints the magazine at the same time. And of course, if you have windowed P-mags like I do here, you're going to want to keep that window so you can see how many rounds you have left in the magazine. So I just taped over that. You can be as you can see, you can be as careful with your tape job or as careless as you want. It depends. On my guns, I don't really give that much of a shit. As far as if the lines look pretty, I just want it to be camouflaged. This is something that I did on this gun that I don't normally do on others, and I taped over the safe and fire indicators on the safety mechanism on both sides, as you can see here. So I don't normally do this on ARs or AKs, because the ergonomics of those weapons are common enough and they're the same that I know what the safety is. The Galil has a fairly unique manual of arms as far as the thumb safety goes, and so if someone else picks up my rifle, I need them to be able to know what the safety means, and so for that reason I taped over the S and the F on the safety indicator. And these are the types of paint I'll be using today. So let me get my ugly feet out of the picture. You see I've got a mixture of two brands. I've used these interchangeably in the past. They work well. Any flat camo spray paint will work just fine for painting your weapon. Rust-Oleum, I've used all Rust-Oleum colors. I've used all whatever this is, Hunter Specialty, which I can get at some stores. This color here I'm using specifically because I can't find this. This is Rust-Oleum Army Green, and it's a unique shade of green that I can't really find in any other brand. And even then, this is such a good color, for at least from my area, that it's hard to find. It's normally like there's the fewest of these on the shelf, if there are any of them left. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a pattern using primarily the Army Green and the coyote tan, or the marsh grass, whatever they call it. And then I'm going to be doing a little bit extra with the olive drab at the end, and you'll see when I get into that. So first step, so once I've taped up everything, I've got my gun leaning up because spray cans work easier when you can hold them vertically as opposed to when you're spraying down onto something. So I like to have my gun leaning up, or some people hang it. If you have the setup to do that, awesome, go for it, good for you. But I have it leaning up, and I'm going to spray one side. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a large pattern with a smaller pattern over top of it. So first thing is going to be a about hand width diagonal or vertical stripes. I'm going to do diagonal. It just tends to look better. And I'm going to alternate with the army green and with the coyote tan. So I'm going to hit that. A little low in this can. Oh yeah, another thing I taped over that I forgot to mention is serial numbers that are only painted on. I have some serial numbers here that are etched in on the ACOG. I don't worry about painting over those because I can still read them. But any serial numbers on optics, lasers, etc., that are only taped, only painted on, I would tape over them so that you can still read them off. All right. You can now see that it looks like this, just alternating tan and army green stripes. So I'm gonna let this dry. If I was hanging this, I wouldn't need to wait for the first side to dry before I did the other side. But because I'm leaning up against something, I need to let this at least reasonably cure to the point to where it's not gonna rub off when I flip the rifle. All right, now this side is reasonably dry. So now I have my template, my laundry bag. As you can see by the color, this has been used to paint many a rifle, backpack, etc. Anything I wanted to camouflage that wasn't already. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this over top of it, and pretty much everywhere where there is green paint, I'm going to hit with the tan. Where there's tan paint, I'm going to hit with green. So let me set this up and I'll show you what that looks like. All right. And then going up to the next area, next part of the buttstock, which is green. Run over it with tan. All right. Okay, so you can see that I now have the honeycomb pattern from the laundry bag along the rifle, and I could leave that in the magazines. I could leave that as it is, but I'd like to do one more thing, and that is where I take a third color, in this case olive drab, and I do some random additional pattern here and there. I could do, and I have done in the past, just a third color of honeycomb here and there in between the green and the tan, but what I also like to do is just do a semi-solid just stripe, diagonal stripe here and there. Kind of looks like tree branches. So I'm going to do, let's see, my first one here in the stock. All right, and right about here on the receiver. There we go. And up here on the handguard. And there you have it. Here's the finished product. I let it set for about a day or so, let the paint fully set and cure, and then I pulled the tape off. And now I think it looks great. It's much better than what it was. And now I'm ready to put my sling back on it, take it back out to the range and re-zero. All right, well, I hope y'all have a great day.